There is this sense that the primary field is exhausted by the drama, and this sort of plays into it. Like we saw the judge that's in charge of the federal case in Florida set a tentative date for around the time of the debates. That's probably going to move because there are so many pre-trial motions that need to be heard, and so we don't quite know when that will actually come to the fore. But we're just kind of seeing whether that drama and that exhaustion will still play out with voters.
Welcome to Reporter's Notebook, where we talk to the Washington Examiner's top journalists about the stories breaking on their beats. I'm Jim Antle. I'm joined today by White House reporter Naomi Lim. Naomi, the race for the White House is heating up. We keep getting more and more Republican candidates jumping in. The field keeps getting bigger, but the general dynamic of the race doesn't seem to change very much.
No, you're exactly right. We still have the former president, Donald Trump, trailing, sort of leading this pack that is growing day by day.
This wolf pack.
It is. We've had one new entry this week, and the potential of another, that being former Representative William Hurt from Texas, and then rumors that Senator Rick Scott will enter the race, although he's quashed them, so we'll see what happens with that. But it just seems like the fundamentals of the race haven't changed from when the former president announced last year. We are sort of seeing some slight movement with this second indictment. His campaign will like to play it down, but we are seeing some polls that suggest that he is losing support. It's sort of yet to be seen whether that support goes anywhere else, but we're seeing sort of softening in his favorability numbers, particularly a hardening of numbers of people that would not consider him at all. And so I think that will sort of take center stage, particularly when the debate season heats up, although he mentioned in a Fox News interview recently that why would he go on a debate stage when he would just take all these shots from this field of 10 or so candidates. And so I think that we'll see that dynamic play out. And the thing too is, like, they also have had the Hunter Biden charges come out as well, and so whether that sort of plays into it, it's all unknown.
Yeah, so the whole logic for why all of these candidates have gotten in seems to be, well, Trump's facing at least 2 indictments. He might be facing more by the time Iowa rolls around. He really can't be the nominee, so somebody else has to be, right? But haven't we for a long time been thinking, well, what Trump's doing is impossible, so it must not be able to happen?
Well, I think the truth is, like, they've also kind of taken or weakened their own argument because they are sort of undermining the Justice Department and their cases against them. And so they kind of don't really, like, the argument that they're making against him isn't clear. I mean, there is this sense that the primary field is exhausted by the drama, and this sort of plays into it. Like we saw the judge that's in charge of the federal case in Florida set a tentative date for around the time of the debates. That's probably going to move because there are so many pre-trial motions that need to be heard, and so we don't quite know when that will actually come to the fore. But we're just kind of seeing whether that drama and that exhaustion will still play out with voters when they actually have to make a decision.
Right, that seems to be the big argument that people are making, whether in some cases overtly, but among some of the more ambitious candidates, I think more covertly, of do you really want to go through all of this for another 4 years?
Yeah, and I think the other thing is that they were trying to make a national security argument, again, with this federal case. As you sort of mentioned, we might see charges come in Georgia regarding election interference. The special counsel is still considering January 6 charges or how that will play out. And so I think that argument was their strongest, but they seem to have sort of fallen off the wayside as they can pivot back to the Justice Department when they talk about the Hunter Biden investigation and how there's been a double standard and things like that.
A 2-tiered system of justice, but maybe only a 1-tiered race.
Potentially.
Yeah. Thank you, Naomi. You can read Naomi and the rest of our political team's coverage at washingtonexaminer.com.